You are now listening to
the Primal Armor Podcast.
This episode is sponsored by Executive Fit LLC. They build custom deadlift platforms, custom barbell storage pieces, and make indoor and outdoor signage for your home or corporate gym. Every platform that pairs with a rack is customized to that specific rack, so everything fits nice and clean. And they ship nationwide. Each platform has a logo applied in a way that makes it impossible to peel up from wear and tear. They even make custom nameplates for your squat rack. Visit executivefitllc.com to request a quote and see what's available on their store. That's executivefitllc.com to upgrade your deadlift game today. Welcome back to episode 97 of the Primal Armor Podcast. Last week, we dove a little bit deeper into hitting our goals of working out while on vacation. But as we all know from everything that we covered, it can be very hard. But if you can remember one of the tips that I gave, it was to work out early in the morning, because then you can help gain an appetite early, and then you can take full advantage of those free breakfasts at the hotel. And this is especially a good tip if you're someone who isn't hungry that early in the morning, and then you struggle to get breakfast in. We've talked before about breakfast in previous episodes, but today I want to dive even further into this topic, and if it's the most important meal of the day. We've covered previously the meaning of the word breakfast. It literally means to break your fast, because we fast overnight as we sleep. And while technically, if you're only sleeping for a few hours a night, it isn't really a fast, it's still very similar and you get the point. You'll have to break your fast at some point throughout the day, but for today's episode's purposes, we're going to be going with what you typically think of an early morning breakfast. When you sleep, you burn through your energy reserves in your body, and that's why you have to break your fast. Fasting can be good for certain purposes, but replenishing these stores helps boost your energy levels and your alertness. This is a big reason of why so many people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because it's very important to get that energy early so you can be productive throughout the entire day. One of the biggest reasons why I think breakfast is the most important meal of the day somewhat goes into what we were talking about last episode and from lots of episodes prior. Working out is really hard, like really, really hard, and just trying to burn weight off by exercise alone is going to be draining. Where the real progress is made is in the kitchen, and that's why breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day. Think about the food that's associated with breakfast. Almost everyone associates it with some sort of breakfast meat and some style of eggs. And this is chock full of protein, and it's one of the best ways to lose weight. Now think about after you have a huge dinner and about how you feel. You're stuffed, and a lot of the time, you don't even feel hungry the next morning. And if you eat a large breakfast like that, that's packed full of protein, it can help keep you full throughout the entire day. And in turn, you're going to be eating less calories than someone who skipped breakfast and is hungry throughout the entire day and keeps snacking every chance they get. And one of my favorite parts about breakfast is all the different options that there are out there. Obviously, there's the fun stuff like pancakes, waffles, French toasts, and all that other stuff. But that stuff isn't the most nutritious options unless you go out there and get a special protein-packed version of them. But think about all the different options of the breakfast meats that are out there, like bacon, sausage, ham, chorizo, and even steak. Now think of all the different ways you can prepare those eggs, and omelets, skillets, over easy, hard-boiled, soft-boiled. And now throw in whatever vegetables that you want, and it can be a long time before you even repeat the same meal again, while all of them are absolutely delicious. And that's another one of my favorite things about breakfast. It's some of the most delicious meals that there are, so you can get some really tasty food while starting off your day with a really healthy and protein-packed option. And there's more than just eggs and breakfast meats too if you're wanting to be healthy and having a delicious breakfast. There's peanut butter, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, oatmeal, fruit, and so many more, because the list is just countless, even for the pickiest of eaters. Now, while it can be very beneficial for us as adults to get breakfast in before going to work, it's even more crucial for children. You want to make sure you're getting their brains fueled, energized, and alert before sending them to school to learn for 8 straight hours, because you're just going to be setting them up for failure at school if you're not feeding them a good breakfast. At school, they're only getting one meal and with little to no time for snacks. And that's for hours, and that lunch doesn't come for hours later. Now think about the last time you were hungry and didn't have food at the ready. You probably got pretty hangry, and then you acted out. Now think about a child who hasn't aged enough to be able to regulate their own emotions like we can. and this can be a big reason of behavioral problems in children at schools. And that's something that could be helped just by eating a good and healthy breakfast. And not only does it help fuel your body to start a day productively, but there's also been countless studies out there that have shown that eating breakfast reduces your risk of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. It's because of all these reasons why I think breakfast is no doubt the most important meal of the day. And if you're someone who struggles to be hungry in the morning when you wake up, try doing what I talked about earlier. Work out as soon as you wake up, and that'll help your appetite tremendously. Don't be skipping out on breakfast. You wouldn't start a long road trip in your car on an empty fuel tank, so don't do the same to your own body before going into a long day. I just want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you back here again next week.